The women not cover their faces in Afghanistan?
Hmm? But you can tell everything from the eyes. Happy, sad, everything. Look. Guess.
I don't know.
Huh? You? Not smiling. See?
When was this written and kind of put together? Because obviously it's based around an issue that's been a live one for a long time, so not really a date on it, but I guess you must have conceived the idea a while ago.
Yeah, I think I started working on this in sort of 5 years ago, 6 years ago even. So yeah, I mean, and so, you know, and it started out, I guess what you're referring to is sort of these now new proposals of sending asylum seekers to real remote islands, which, you know, 5 or 6 years ago, you know, this for me was a kind of absurdist concept where you could make a sort of absurdist, slightly surreal film about asylum seekers. So it's very kind of strange and obviously sad to see how, you know, asylum policy has progressed in the last 5-6 years, and how actually, you know, how, you know, the refugee crisis in itself, you know, hasn't become any better.
And I mean, kind of what attracted you to the story? I mean, when it was first presented to you, were you in immediately? Did you take some convincing?
No, I wasn't in immediately at all. I actually ignored it when I read the blurb, and then my agent was like, "No, this is a good one. I think just give it a read." Because I was just at that point, I was really frustrated. I was, you know, I was getting kind of, you know, put up for similar, you know, roles. When I say similar, I mean I was constantly being typecast and set in a certain way. But with this, you know, Ben puts Omar right into the forefront of the story. He gives him agency, and there isn't a Western character that is telling the story on his behalf, which is what I, you know, love, because more often than not you do get these films being made, but you have someone else telling the story. You know, because they're afraid of it not being financed or whatever reason it is. But no, that's what I loved, and also the fact that it was really well balanced between the comedy and the more dramatic elements as well. And I think what better way to tell this, you know, this you know, talk about this, you know, the refugee crisis than by using that, you know, method.
How was kind of rounding out the rest of the cast? I mean, did it take a long time? Was it quick? How was that process?
It took quite a while, I think. Like, I think it was a sort of a long process. We did a worldwide search and auditioned, you know, hundreds of people for you know, most of the you know, the main roles, or the, you know, the 4 main guys, and we've so it was, you know, it was a kind of very thorough process, and put some of the, you know, Farhad, for example, through quite a few rounds of auditions and kind of experimental type auditions as well, where we asked him to come in to the audition in character for an improvised hot seating, and things like that. So it was you know, it was kind of a long, kind of thorough process, but yeah, we got there in the end.
And tell me about, and I'm going to try and pronounce this properly, U East, like, which I guess is where all the scenes were shot. I mean, how did you find it? What was it like working there? I mean, when the crew turned up, it must have, like, you know, put a sizable increase in the population, given how, you know, tiny these places are.
Yeah, I mean, so, well, from my side, you know, embarrassingly kind of ended up finding Uist from Google Maps, because I, you know, was writing a film that was set on a remote Scottish island, and And I felt like I needed to go to a remote Scottish island to really experience that and try and get that world inside my head, and to go, there and write the screenplay. I ended up looking on Google Maps and saw Uist, which is, a fairly substantial chain of islands way off north, furthest northwest. And I'd never heard of Uist. I'm from Edinburgh, so I should have heard of the Scottish island. I should know more Scottish islands. And then ended up going out there and sort of writing the island into the script in a way. And then it became a massive challenge shooting there. We were constantly battling against the elements. And yeah, I mean, Amir, I guess, Amir took the long journey. You went overland all the way there.
Yeah. From my home to all the way to Uist. Well, we drove, and then we took a ferry across. And I think that was useful because we, to kind of have that feeling of isolation, to kind of, just even touch the surface of knowing what it's like to just be on a long journey alone.
And I mean, you've worked on big projects, you've worked on big films with big studio backlots. What was it like working on a tiny island with, I guess, if someone runs and says we need something from the supermarket, it may well not have it, and that's probably hundreds of miles away to sort it out.
Yeah. Well, it's all part of building the character and knowing, what Omar, would have gone through as well. So, I was feeling very grateful every morning that I was only going to be there for, and it is a beautiful island, but, long-term wise, I felt grateful that I was only going to be there for the duration of the film, and I'd go back to London. So yeah, it was tricky, and we would get, special deliveries outside of, from Scotland as well. But, the proper home cooking and stuff, I definitely missed, So yeah, but it did help. It did help, inform the character a lot more as well.
And how were the locals? I mean, were they welcoming? Were they like, yeah, please come shoot here? Or was it a bit trepidation?
So friendly. They were helping us on set. I think Ben, has loads of stories about that. But yeah, we had a lot of, helping hands, and, people wanting to, and also just the curiosity, knowing, Ben, there's never been a film that's been filmed there, right?
Yeah, so we're the first feature film to have ever shot and used. And so yeah, it was I think it was something that was for the locals. It was a big deal, and I think that we did sort of clog up the roads, and we kind of took a lot of the products off the shelves in the supermarkets. But they were amazing, and we wouldn't have been able to make the film without them. We did have quite a few of the locals working both on the crew, behind the camera. We also had a lot of the locals that were in the film as extras and as some of the smaller roles as well. So they were really kind of just happy to kind of roll their sleeves up and help us in any way that they possibly could. Like, everything there is from them, all the sheep, the quad bikes, the vehicles, they belonged, actually, I think all of that belonged to one guy who had everything, but yeah, they were amazing.
Obviously it's a comic, it's a drama, it's a comic story as well. Was there much improv? I mean, was that kind of encouraged and, trying different things, or did you kind of stick quite firmly to the script?
I think the blueprint was there, it was, there was no direct need to improvise. We played a lot in rehearsals. We played a lot. And I think, there were certain things, certain intonations that would be tweaked, and, but for the most part, it was, everything was there, on paper.
A funny thing happened to Omar on his way to freedom.
Hey, you one of the refugees?
Yes.
Fate took a detour.
What's your name, pal?
Omar.
Right, Omar. Don't blow up shite or rape anyone, right?
Okay.
Do you want to lift back up to town, pal?
Now he's stuck in limbo.
What would you do if they let you stay?
I would like to wear suit and work in office.
I was taking a chance to make life better.
I want to play for Chelsea Football Club.
One wrong step and they would deport us.
You ever think about who you were before all of this?
I cannot be myself back home.
In Syria, very famous.
Maybe a little.
Maybe I could be your agent.
Like Tom Cruise with Jerry Maguire.
You will all have to draw on experiences from your past. For example, I used to have a dog, but then she got rabies. So I had to kill her.
What instrument is that anyway?
It's like a guitar.
Oh, we should organize a concert, and we could have a finger buffet at the interval.
On behalf of my client, I think this is a very good idea.
You can be whatever you want as long as you work hard enough.
Hey, Paul, want a leaflet?
Thank you.
And all the houses in the street have got a name. 'Cause all the houses in the street, they look the same. Life ain't so happy in your little Shangri-La.
That's not ping pong for a hat.
Yes? Ping pong, ping pong.
Hello?